Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Andy in Singapore. If you haven't done so, I'd like to remind you to click the like and subscribe buttons because I've got new videos uploaded every week just for you. In today's video, we're going to do a very quick review of this Seiko Presage. And this watch was on loan from our boutique. I really need to take some time to thank Eric Lee and his team for loaning me all these watches for my video reviews. Reference number for this Seiko Presage is SRPE45J1, and this is a smaller to mid-size type of Presage, and I would say everything here is vintage style, right? From the case size to the looks, to the overall curves, and to the dome box hardlex crystal here. Everything here points towards a very vintage style of design. So the colors here, they're just really nicely matched. We've got a dark green sunburst style here with gorgeous texturing and the gilt dial look, as well as this mocha brown leather strap here. I think we've got a really good combination of colors and everything fits the vintage style really well. So if you have seen my earlier videos regarding the Seiko Presage models, I really think some of their watches are way too big, alright? So for non-sports watches like this, you really don't want to let it go over 40mm case size. And this one here, the SRPE45J1 that I'm reviewing today, comes in at around 38.5mm case size. And I think this is a suitable case size for this vintage, dressier style of watches. So if the lens zoom in just a little bit, let me run you through the specs of this watch here. As mentioned earlier, it's got a case size of 38.5mm. Overall thickness here is 12mm. That's measuring from the base of the exhibition case back to the top of the box dome hardlex crystal. We've also got a really nice rotor here that is semi-decorated, okay? So skeletonized as well as decorated, right? Not the best in terms of hand craftsmanship or whatever, but I think you do see the effort from Seiko to sort of put some decoration to their otherwise really dull 4R35 movement. Lug width on the Seiko Presage here is 20mm, and again, this is going to be a strap monster, and they've paired it up really well with this beautiful looking mocha brown cuff leather strap here. This one here has got a very dramatic tapering all the way down to 16mm at this fold over clasp over here. It's a single fold deployment, and it even has quick release system here. So again, strap changing is just going to be a breeze. L to L measurement here is also very short and definitely manageable even if you have very small wrists, right? It comes in at 45.1mm, and I really think that even ladies can consider this case size as well. The Seiko Presage here has a water resistance of 50 meters, and of course, for a dressier style of watch, I think that is definitely adequate. So for a case size of 38.5mm, this watch here does have a large crystal size. It comes in at about 34.2mm. And I think this is like part of the design language whereby the watches, the vintage style of watches, they typically have about 34mm case size with a larger dial to case ratio. At the time of this review, the SRPE45J1 has a street price of around $530. You can definitely get this one from our boutique, alright? So just drop by to our boutique, maybe have a chat with Eric. He might give you a brother price. So if you're looking for a better brother price, don't hesitate to give Eric a call or have a chat with him at his store. So let's move on and talk a little bit on the case design and the overall build quality of the Seiko Presage here. Okay, so this watch case here has an entirely polished finish, and I'll be honest with you here, this watch here does feel like it's part of the basic series. Okay, so listed on Seiko's official website, this one falls under the Seiko Presage basic lineup, and I have to admit that the finishing here, it is really basic. So there are no transitions of any sort. Everything here is polished finish, and the polishing is of decent standard, alright? I wouldn't say it is high grade standard. I've handled the Presage series that have the urushi dial and retrograde dials and all that. And those Presage models, they fall under the 1,000 to 1,500 Singapore dollars category, and there is a difference in terms of build quality, so you definitely get what you pay for. So this one here is in the basic series, going for around 500 to 550 Singapore dollars, and it houses the 4R35 movement, which is a lower grade movement than the 6R series. So it definitely feels like it is part of the basic series. So overall build quality here is still very entry level. But when we talk about this watch style here, alright, I will feel that the style here is definitely the highlight of this watch. Alright, just take a look at the texturing going on this dial. Alright, so turn the watch this way, sideways, and given the right amount of light play and all that, you will see that the texturing is just beautiful. Alright, we've got a deep dark green sunburst style over here, and together with this crazy amount of texturing going on, wow, okay, I think this style alone is probably worth the asking price of the SRPE45J1. And we've got this gilt applied markers over here. Even this date window here is framed, and everything just, you know, blends in really well. By adding all this gold accents in the form of the markers and the handset here. Alright, I think this one here actually looks pretty stunning. So I think this dial here, even when put against much more expensive watches, I think you really do see that Seiko is definitely on top of the dial game when it comes to dial texturing, colors, design and all that. Alright, at this price point, I think they're really doing a great job. And here's a stage wrist shot of the SRPE45J1. My wrist is about 17 centimeters. You will see that this one here fits like a dream. Alright, watches that are 37, 38, anything that's under 40 with a very manageable L to L distance, I think you won't go wrong with a case size like that. Okay, I'm loving this color combination. I think if you were to change the strap, swap out the strap, I think it is best to stick with a brown strap, because brown strap with dark green dial just works like a charm. Alright, it is unbeatable. And now let's do a quick size comparison between the Seiko Presage and my own Citizen Eco Drive Ultra Thin Stiletto. Both watches are rather similar when it comes to specs. They're both around 38.5mm case size. But when you see both watches in person, you will realize that they can't be any more different. Okay, so just take a look. We've got a watch that is ultra thin. One has a dome crystal, the other one has a dead flat sapphire crystal, and overall thinness also very different. For some reasons, my Citizen actually looks like the bigger watch, but I'm loving this vintage look of the Seiko Presage here on my left. So overall, I would say the Seiko Presage basic model here is really interesting. Alright, so of course the case build and the finishing here is not the best. Alright, it's not a top of the line model kind of thing, but I do feel that the overall vintage design, the overall styling, the retro theme here is conveyed so well. Alright, in terms of the color matching this dial here and all the gilt dial look. Alright, even down to the case proportions as well as the dome box crystal over here. I think in terms of design and staying true to this vintage style and vintage theme, Seiko has done a really good job. So there you have it. That was my very quick review of the Seiko Presage basic model SRPE45J1. I would say this is a very affordable, dressier type of watch from Seiko, and this one here directly rivals the Bambino 38, but do bear in mind that this one here has got a slightly higher price tag when compared to the Bambino. And I think the dial alone here probably gives the Seiko an edge over the Bambino. Alright, so until the next video, this is Andy in Singapore together with George. I don't know why he's coming so close to the watch. I think it's because it's a green watch and he's sort of telling me to buy it for myself, but I think George, no, I'm not going to buy it. Alright, so together with George and Pixie and Rolly Polly, we're going to say goodbye for now. See you next week. Bye bye.